Shalom, my brothers and sisters. Shalom. My name is Symmanayah, and this is an end time alert. End time alert number 31. Yashar'al's Great Migration, Part 18. This series is about Yashar'al's Great Migration, Part 18. And for those of you who wonder who Yashar'al I'm referring to the family of believers, those who have established a heart to worship and obey the Most High Father. That is the family that I speak of. That is the Yashar'al that I direct these presentations to, these words to. Yashar'al, a nation that's awakening. Consider this, my brothers and sisters. Have you ever been around a donkey? Do you think a donkey is a smelly animal? Do you look at a donkey as being ugly? What about stones or rocks? Do you find them unattractive, some attractive? How many of you even pay attention to the rocks that you walk past or to the stones that you see? What about people? Are not people more valuable than a donkey? More attractive than stones? Can we not gain more from people? Whether it be an ugly donkey, a smelly donkey, or whether it be stones or rocks that are unattractive or attractive. Yah's possible instruments of communication in escaping the lust of the eyes exist. Can we relate? In other words, do you honestly believe that the Most High Father would speak through a donkey, would open the mouth of a donkey? Do you honestly believe that the Most High Father would cause the stones to cry out? And if he would use a donkey or the stones or rocks, would he not also use people? Can we get beyond the lust of our eyes? And what I mean by that is, how many of us tend to pay more attention to videos on YouTube because we can see the face of an individual? Yeah, we say it has its advantages, and it does, so I'm not condemning it. But are we making that our priority? Are we making the priority that we'll only listen to someone we see that we're attracted to? Are we making the priority that we will only pay attention to things that looks good? I say the lust of the eyes have caused us great error because we want to see, or we want to feel, or we want to touch, or we believe that we can connect better by our eyes. I would challenge you to think about this, my brothers and sisters. Think about the message. Think about the spiritual eye taking precedence over the physical eye. Because in our physical eyes, we look at the script of Hebrew language. We look at Hebrew dress. We look at instruments that we believe represent the true culture of believers in the Father. Yes, we do. We look at a lot of different things. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but I'm saying let us not make that the precedence or the priority to hearing the voice of the Most High, to following the guidance of the Spirit of Yahusha. Consider these verses, my brothers and sisters, if you're not familiar with them. Numbers 22:28. Here is an example where Yahuwah opened the mouth of the donkey. And I'll read the verse. Again, that's Numbers 22:28. Then Yahuwah opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you that you have beat me these 3 times? Here is an example where we see Yahuwah opening the mouth of a donkey to spare the life of an individual. Also, consider this scripture, these passages of scriptures. Luke 19:39 and 19:40. Luke 19:39 and 19:40. And some of the Pharisees from the crowd said to him, Teacher, rebuke your taught ones. So here we see the Pharisees are trying to encourage the Mashiach to rebuke those who are following him, his taught ones. Some of you may know them as out of the 12 chosen ones of the Messiah. And so the Pharisees are trying to get him to rebuke them. But 1940 goes on where the Messiah basically said, and I'm going to read the scripture, but he answered and said to them, I say to you that if these shall be silent, the stones will cry out. Here we see the Mashiach. Here we see Yahusha responding to the Pharisees, saying if the taught ones were to be quiet, that if necessary, Yahuwah would make the stones cry out. So you see, my brothers and sisters, whether it's a donkey or the stones, we know that we as individuals are greater than the donkeys or the stones, but we see examples of how the Most High Father would reach out and speak out to us. It is so important, my brothers and sisters, that we begin to set a precedence, a priority for examining the message, for being able to see with our spiritual eye, for being able to take what we see with our physical eye and commit it to prayer so that we can see beyond the physical eye and see exactly what the Most High wants us to see, so that we can do right rulings to the things we see physically. But the right rulings is not based on an outward judgment, but a judgment of an eye within our heart, an eye that sees as the Spirit of Yahusha shows and reveals to us. Eyes that see as a result of discernment when the Spirit of Yahusha reveals. Let me read some other passages of scriptures. Psalms 25:15. My eyes are ever towards Yahuwah, for he brings my feet out of the net. During Yashar'al's great migration, my brothers and sisters, we will be positioned in an area where we will be safe as we move, as our feet, as we travel. We will not be ensnared by the net of the enemy. But this statement is reflective to those who worship and obey the guidance of the Most High. For if we're not looking, if we don't see, how can we move in the right direction if we fail to see correctly? That was Psalms 25:15. Proverbs 3:7. Proverbs 3:7 state, do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahuwah and turn away from evil. So we are to fear the Most High and focus on him. And in doing so, let us turn away from evil. Ecclesiastes 2:14 says, the wise one's eyes are in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. And I also knew that one event befalls them all. So the eyes are in our head. Could it be he's talking about our physical eyes or the spiritual eyes? You be the judge. Walking in darkness, sometimes we can be walking in darkness with our physical eyes because we fail to see the spirit behind the matter. We fail to allow our spiritual eyes to be clear. Let me read another passage of scripture. 1 John 2:16 states, because all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. So many of us, my brothers and sisters, are looking at Hebrew dress, Hebrew garbs, Hebrew instruments, or perceived to be Hebrew cultural items. We want to dress with t-shirts, robes, garbs, whatever terms we want to use. We're focused on whether Yashar'al is looking Hebrewish, so to speak, or whether we look the part. Many of us are deceived to think the person that has the most diverse wardrobe in Hebrew dress is more spiritual than the other. We are facing much deception, my brothers and sisters, because we are focusing our attention on the wrong things. Let us focus on the guidance of the Spirit of Yahusha. Let us understand what it means by the Ruach HaKodesh, the set-apart spirit that guides us and teaches us. I know many of you might be wondering, well, why does this guy speak and he never shows his face? Is it important? Is it important to what I look like or who I look like? In due season, those of you who are on the internet, in due season, if it is important, if I am compelled by the Most High, then you will begin to see my face. But it's not about me. I repeat again, it is not about me. Yashar'al will be gathered, my brothers and sisters. And let us open our eyes. Let us begin to look for righteous instruction, righteous guidance. Wherever it may come, let us be able to discern the voice of the Spirit of the Most High. What do you think the process for seeing? Or what do you think are the prerequisites to having good sight? Could it be that it's necessary for us to study and pray with a heart to worship and obey Him? I think so. Is it possible to maintain good vision? And if so, how do we do that? I say by prayer, by study, by seeking wise counsel and righteous instructions, by strong fellowship. What should we do once we are able to see? There is an order of service, my brothers and sisters. Sometimes when the Most High shows us things, it's for intercessory prayer. Sometimes it's for us to act. Sometimes it's to prepare our minds and body for when the right time to move. So let us not take something that's been revealed to us and just run with it. Let us not take something and become reckless. Sometimes the Most High show us something unrighteous in another brother or sister, or something unrighteous. Have we considered that the first order of service may be to pray for that individual before we respond or react? In Yashar'al's great migration, my brothers and sisters, we will come to learn how to be mature, how to reason with one another, how to see beyond the things that we interpret with our physical eyes, how to utilize that spiritual eye. Are we entitled to ownership of the things we discover? Is it ours? Did it really come from us if something that's hidden is revealed? How many of us give credit to the Most High for revealing things to us, things that will free us from strongholds or things that will protect us from deception? Can we honestly say that the things we see take the position of a seed? Maybe it's water, or maybe it's the increase. All in all that is righteous is part of Yahuwah's plan, the Almighty Father. I am compelled to believe that when we ask questions, it represents a form of seeking, my brothers and sisters. So let us ask questions. Let us provoke thought. Let us provoke prayer. And let us clear our ears and eyes so that we're able to see the response from the Most High. If we are always quick to speak, when can we find time to listen for the answers or truly come to know the matter and our part, our service to the Most High? Curiosity can sometimes be a stumbling block, my brothers and sisters, but let us learn to grow in obedience, one step at a time. One may be surprised to see how much can be achieved in a reasonable amount of time. Come, let us seek to worship and obey the Most High with an eye to identify His guidance and instructions, my brothers and sisters. This is an end time alert, number 31. For in Yashar'al's migration, it is time for us to understand the importance of that spiritual eye. It is time for us to not take for granted the physical eye. It is time for us to realize that there must be balance. So let us not get hung up on what we see. Let us not be captured or captivated or become servants as a result of the lust of the eyes. That means pictures of people, individuals, writings, scripts, signs, etc. But let us focus on utilizing that spiritual eye, my brother. The Spirit of Yahusha calls out. Stay tuned for more, my brothers and sisters. Shalom, shalom. Let us get ready and be prepared, and let us respond to the Most High. Shalom.